It's really not all that complicated. The situation's been grossly overstated. The simple truth is this: we all got greedy. While we ridiculed the homeless and the needy, we were laser focused on what we most wanted, and that which we stole we then so heartlessly flaunted. We never stopped to take a sobering look at the suffering souls from whom we took. Do you remember 'twas not too long ago when what's mine is yours was the status quo, and we were instinctively our neighbor's keeper? Our relationships back then seemed to run so much deeper. We had such great disdain for slander, fraud, and lies. That's because we could always see ourselves in each other's eyes. We felt such deep compassion toward each and every sullen face, and heavenly we'd whisper, "There go I, but for your grace." A self-imposed prohibition inspired by an unwavering moral sense that we would never better ourselves at another soul's expense. With a patriotic commitment and a sense of community, we gladly rolled up our sleeves, gave each other opportunity. But over time, we lost our spiritual bearing, turned shamelessly selfish, and learned to just stop caring. If I got mine, that's all that mattered. Sorry, in the process, if you got shattered. Anyone unlike us we denounced as odd and couldn't conceive that they shared our God. We put up barriers to shut them out. We plugged our ears to muffle their shout. But we're escaping tyranny. Well, gee, that's bad. Our children are starving. So terribly sad. But America runs on law and order. So get behind that wall on your side of the border. And though I see you're hungry, please control your wine. I've barely enough for me and mine. And so we freeze our hearts and we boil our heads and overstuff on wine and fine French breads. Don't too quickly dismiss all we jeopardize when we condemn bipartisan compromise. Let us never forget democracy has a protocol. Strive for all to gain much, knowing none can have all. But that's not how the game is now played. It seems Jesus' teachings we've so betrayed. If you don't look like me, I deem you a foreigner, causing us to each retreat to our respective corner. I demonize you and you vilify me, but about each other on this one thing we agree. You threaten all that I stand for, guess we have no choice but to be at war. Even if confronted by blatant truth, it's still eye for eye and tooth for tooth. We each believe that might makes right, and will sell our souls just to win the fight. Believing God's given his sacred stamp, we circle our wagons around our camp. We seek aggressive leaders for whom to revere, and their fiery rhetoric we eagerly cheer. Their angry words to our fears appeal. We marvel how precisely they echo what we feel. We know their promises they won't deliver. Still, we'll vote for them and hope for a sliver. Humility and integrity were long ago the norm, but now arrogance and selfishness now appear uniform. With shouted threats and fists clenched strong, I'm sure I'm right and I know you're wrong. These days compromise is a dirty word. That love might conquer evil is a concept deemed absurd. In mutual distrust and fear, we are now so paralyzed. In maliced voices, we belittle each other, now more than ever polarized. We vainly praise our wisdom, declare its uniqueness, and we view apology as a sure sign of weakness. In the face of an olive branch, we remain doggedly uncommittal, refusing to dare to meet our foes somewhere in the middle. Though we know a house divided surely for long cannot stand, nevertheless we stubbornly risk the motherland. We can win the battle, but still lose the war. For the America we love, that's what's in store. Our vanity withholds us from being the very first to admit our seeds of ego just may have reaped the worst, and that in our unchecked zeal to achieve our selfish goals, we muted our very conscience and dismissed our begging souls. If only we had the conviction, the inner strength to set aside those intractable positions so fueled by godless pride. I pray that we somehow relearn to hear another's tormented cries and see our own reflection in the love in each other's eyes. Now, all that is wrong and painful in our broken country today can be traced back to division and spiritual decay. We have the power within us to choose to make things right. Either alone we grope in the darkness, or together we kindle a light. But if we each continue along the current trend, before you know it, we'll have not one friend. And armed and angry and filled with fear, we'll stop our brother dead before he comes near. We'll shoot first and ask questions second, much too late for attitudes to be reckoned. We'll exacerbate the distrust that is now so deeply embedded, and in so doing accelerate the very nightmare we have dreaded. It's not just about an election or about our country's racial complexion. It's not about right or left, or which marital unions should remain bereft. It's not about faith versus science. It's not about constitutional compliance. It's not a contest of yours over mine. It's not about which leader has more spine. It's not about who quotes the most Bible verse. It's not about who holds the power of the purse. And it's not about partisan divides, and it's not about rising ocean tides. It's not about our role in the Middle East or which administration has done the least. It's not about when life is conceived. It's not about whose patriotism is to be believed. We can easily conflate prudence with retrieval, but one thing is for sure, there will always be evil. A man must know his limits, Clint Eastwood once said. We need to choose our battles with a humble head. Quarreling with a neighbor who used to be a friend takes us down a course to a surely violent end. I beg you to consider what I am confident is true. For America to survive, there can be no me, no you. America started all together, but where she ends will depend on whether we dig our heels in or respectfully we bend. It really is that simple when you cut right to the chase, hold firm to our arrogance and behave with much disgrace, or hopefully approach middle ground and meet with arms outstretched. We can end this nightmare we're in, a possibility not far-fetched. So I call on each American to reject every extreme, be it policy, act, or rhetoric. Adopt a compassionate theme. We all declare our hope and faith in love's limitless power. Well, it's time to act on your belief in this, America's final hour.